Got up and rolling?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, what I was saying was you're asking like, yeah, am I tight? Am I stiff, dude? Like I left, I go on that run. I'm like, oh, it's 28 degrees, so I bundle up. And you don't really realize it until you're out running in 28 degrees that you're kind of running like the fucking Tin Man, right? And your running form changes, so I'm like, I'm pounding more on my heels than what I typically do. So yeah, I got back from that run. I was like, oh fuck, my hips
I always
tight.
run like the Tin Man. Just
always fucked up. Yeah, that's good. Mikey, how are you, buddy?
Oh, all right, man. What's going on, everybody?
All right, we'll ignore you because you're falling asleep.
I was the one that's supposed to be tired.
For those of you guys that don't know Nick, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Nick. Born and raised in Livermore. Sorry.
Nick.
I just got off work.
That was a great start.
Just got off work, no sleep, brain's not fully functioning right now. But yeah, so my name's Nick. Grew up in Livermore. Started training with Darrell when I was about like 15, 16 years old, right in there, when he was still in Fremont.
Yep.
Had a good group of guys that we were going with. Followed him out here, he actually followed me back to Livermore, brought his gym out here, and and then got the opportunity to play some college ball. And
yeah, I trained Nick, and I was like, "Whoa, is there more of this kid in Livermore?" And I moved the gym out, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Nope.
Damn it!
What I'll never forget when you were moving the gym to Livermore, and you gave us all those flyers.
Yeah.
Me and Jake had a whole stack of them. And
oh boy.
Jake, I love you, but the next day, I think
garbage can.
Yeah, you asked us, oh, like how'd it go? He goes, oh, I handed it out to a couple friends. I'm like, I was handing that shit out to everybody. I mean,
hot cakes.
Yeah, and he's like,
stay close to your mic. Stay close to your mic. There you go.
Yeah.
Good old nephew Jake. Thanks, Jake. Mm-hmm.
We love you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Nick, what are you doing now? So you trained with me for a while, a long while, on and off for years and years and years. Played football in high school, went the junior college route, was still training here, got a scholarship to
Texas State.
Yeah. Played a couple years at Texas State.
Yeah.
And now you're a grown man.
Yeah, doing the grown man stuff.
With a mustache.
Yeah.
Sweet mustache, too.
Mike told me, bring the dirtiest stash you can.
You could have done better than that, man. You could have.
Just give me a couple more days. We'll run it back.
All right. So what are you doing with yourself these days?
Yeah. So right now I'm currently working as an EMT on an ambulance. My role right now is in a hospital. I'm at Kaiser Oakland doing all the PICU transport. So in their pediatric ICU. So I'm a part of their transport team. So it's with an RN and an RT, and sometimes a doctor, depending on how critical the patient is.
Okay.
So it's a lot. I like it. It's very different because it's more of a controlled setting, as instead of like responding to 911 calls. Right. You don't really know what you're getting.
Right.
Essentially, most of the time, you're in a hospital setting. They are stable for the most part. And then you just transfer them to a higher level of care or...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Athletically, what are you doing these days? I know you're still working out and still training.
Trying to get at the bare minimum 4 days a weekend. Definitely need to up my cardio a little bit. But definitely I think I definitely get a solid 4 days consistently.
Yeah.
5 on a good week for sure. But...
Blew yourself out with some deadlifts yesterday.
Yeah, Darrell got me all hot and bothered the other day on some deadlifts, talking about I was just cranking them out, so I had to go home and match them, and now I'm regretting it.
Well, yeah, we were talking about like training programs and stuff, and I'm back to solid, consistent training myself, and started adding in some AMRAP sets, right? So like heavy AMRAP sets, drop the weight back down, do the Widowmaker set with like 65% of your max, and so you hit those high volume. And so we were talking, and Nick's like, "Oh hell yeah!" You tell he's getting like all excited about it. So Nick went home and fucked himself up good yesterday. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so Nick's come in a little bit and hung out with the kids that I'm training. As you guys know, I think from our last episode, we were talking about that, and the last one, how I started back up our athletic training programs here at the gym. I have the 9 to 12-year-old group. We got the 13 to 17-year-old group. The 13 17s train Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 9 to 12s train on Tuesday and Thursday. So Nick's kind of come in and seen both groups moving around and the different stuff that they're doing, and it's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool to be on the other side and kind of looking at it as more of the coach trainer side of things, right? Where you're seeing, okay, how kids move, how they act and respond to each other. And
no, absolutely. I think it's absolutely amazing, especially at that age. I felt like, looking back, I felt like I was a little bit late to the game. I was still young, obviously 15, 16 years old, but some of these kids being 9 years old and learning proper mechanics and just how to move your body properly, by the time you're in high school, like, that's going to drastically help you in whatever sport you decide to play in. Just your day-to-day life in general.
Right.
Like for me, there was absolutely no instruction in my high school in our strength program and what we did. It was get in the gym. Let's see how much you could squat. Let's see how much you could bench. Let's see how much you could deadlift. And, we'll do that again tomorrow.
Right.
And there wasn't a whole lot of instruction. And that's just, it's a public school, so you can kind of put that, there. But,
right.
At the same time, if I would have started this earlier and had the opportunity to learn as much as I did when I started going to you at 16 years old, I think I would have been
it's a tough,
more of a beast than what I already was,
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. I was, me, and I was a high school football coach for 15 years, right? And I was a head high school football coach, and the kids who I coached had a little bit more knowledge thrown at them in the weight room, right? Because that's what I do for a living. Right. But you look at a lot of what these coaches do, like your coaches that you had in high school, you want to fault them, but it's hard to, right? Because, you're at a public school. These guys aren't getting paid. They're donating time. They're doing all this stuff just to do it and try and, make a difference in kids' lives. But on the training side of it, they don't know any better, right? That's what they did back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, depending on when they grew up and, played and whatever. And so there's been no true evolution, right? Because what are coaches trying to evolve? They're trying to evolve their playbook. They're trying to evolve the way that they coach kids on the field, develop players on the field, but so much of that happens in the off season and in the weight room, right? And not just in the weight room, but time on the field, right? Where, I don't know high school football rules now within California and whatever, but you used to not be able to take a ball on the field until spring practice, and you only had a certain amount of days and blah, 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 blah. But there's workarounds, right? So we do speed and agility work that directly pertain to, like, say, for wide receivers, that pertain to your fucking routes, right? You go out and you're running your routes, you're doing this stuff. And, there's so much that you can get out of all that stuff to develop an athlete, we're tying in the speed and the speed strength and the pure strength of that side of that I really think that, or I really would hope that coaches would see that more, I guess, because you're right. Like, I can remember you guys coming in the gym the first few times. I'm like, who the fuck taught you how to bench press? And it was like,
and why are you not squatting past 90?
Yeah. Why are you wearing a shirt with no sleeves with arms like that? That was honestly the conversation, right? Yeah, no, you can tell everybody.
Yeah, the first time I ever went to Darrell, the very first day, I was with Chris Benavidez, Joe Xavier, and Jake
wasn't there.
No, he wasn't.
Jake wasn't there because you guys had like an off period or something, and it was like you guys came out at like 1 o'clock, and Jake was still in school or something.
It was something like that, yeah. But anyways, I showed up with Chris and Joe, and they're like, "Hey, just beware." Darrell always has an opening liner for us, usually because we're late. But he always has something funny. He always has something funny that he calls us, and I'm like, all right. So I walk in there, and he goes, "Oh, cut off on the first day, huh?" He goes, "With those arms." I'll never forget it.
How'd it make you feel?
Yeah, I was just like, here we go.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Oh yeah. No, and that's always. I'm always gonna not tease, but have fun with kids, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, absolutely.
open up, let them know that it's not all gonna be serious all the time, right? And and that's something that I try and you saw that the other day with that older group that I was training, right? It's the know when to work, know when you can relax, fuck around, and
absolutely.
have fun with your buddies. But know that as soon as you get that barbell in your hands, or we're starting a new drill, like it's time to flip the switch, turn it on.
Right. And I think you have I would say you've mastered a very good way of, especially speaking to the younger kids. Like for that example, for instance, with me coming in on the first day and you kind of giving me crap right off the bat, it was like, I didn't take it personal. It was just like how you came about it and how you handled me off first meeting. It was like, I was cool with it. I was just like, I like this guy,
Right.
Whereas sometimes I think a lot of times people are just like, wow, this guy's being a freaking asshole.
Right. And it's
doesn't
number
know
one,
me.
it's about how you're talking to somebody, right? And the delivery of things. And,
Of course.
and it's not like Nick walked upstairs and like, cut off shirt, little bitch, like,
Yeah.
That's what you told me. I had sleeves on. I was like, wait a minute.
yeah. So, like I said, Nick's been hanging out here and there with those groups now, right? And he's talked about showing interest in wanting to coach, wanting to train athletes, like whether it be a side type of thing or something that he wants to do, and take it even further in that in the future, which is cool, and it's fun when you do get to the other side, and it challenges you when you get to the other side, right? Because you're like, okay, I'm going to teach this kid how to box squat today. I'm looking at a box, right? I'm going to teach this kid how to box squat today. Okay, as an athlete, I just know how to do it.
Right.
How the fuck do I explain this to this kid, right?
Yeah.
Or this kid has these different variables, these different, I don't want to say limitations, but limitations or things that you need to work around to help them to be able to do it. And you start going, start seeing the wheels turning when you're on that side of it.
Yeah, for sure. And learning how, like you said the other day, learning how every athlete is different and every athlete needs to be treated as such and coached differently.
Oh, for sure. And
learning how to do that.
And that's learning not just the body, but learning the temperament, right? It's like that when I train adults too. But with the athletes, all right, let's take the group that you worked out with, right? So let's take the core three once you guys were out here, you, Brandon, and Jake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Jake, if I wanted to get the most out of Jake in a workout,
Just hit him.
No, I wanted to hit him. But honestly, it was where I knew that I had to capture his attention and be here, but not like I couldn't be prick because he would shut down.
Right.
Right. But I had to directly be here, whatever. Brandon, on the other hand, was one like I had to give him direct attention, but it had to be kind of chill and whatever because he didn't respond well, like if I got fired up. I could walk up to you and go, pick up the fucking weight, set your feet, grip the bar, and Nick would be like, all right, let's fucking do this. Right? There's a difference between each one, and it's, and like if I give you a coaching cue, I know that like with you, I can give you a quick cue and you're going to make that adjustment. With another kid, I know I'm going to have to show that kid, right? I'm going to have to walk over to the bar, physically put my hands on the barbell and show them, right? And that's where you're like, as a coach, you got to know. You got to know who you're dealing with, right? And like, and that's something that's different, And like I said, you saw that the other day. You got a little taste of that with that older group the other day, right? Like you had Jay, he working with him over there on the bench press and just kind of hanging out by him and talking him through stuff. And, it's just different. It's just different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So tell me more about the interest in training, dude. What kind of brought you back around to it?
Yeah. I mean, going back all the way from when I started with you, I love sports. I grew up always being a part of sports. I grew up playing ice hockey. That was my number one sport. When I got to high school, that's when football was introduced to me, and I started playing football. Figured out that I was really good at football. And then when I started going to you, it just made my game go 0 to 100 real quick. And Yeah, and I kind of fell in love with the off-season side of things. Obviously you love playing in the games, but like the progress that you can make in the off-season and looking back and seeing the strides and just seeing like who you were last year to who you are now, like I truly fell in love with that. And I think like I credit you a lot with a lot of my success and a lot of like where I kind of grew as a human being, because I spent a lot of time with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was dedicated, and I was in here every single day. And
there's a difference between showing up, getting your shit done, and then leaving, right? And there's a difference between that and the kid who shows up, puts in that work, gets their shit done, but is asking you why we're doing things and what else they can do to keep getting better, right? And it's not like you go, oh yeah, well, can I stay and do extra squats? No, it's just more of, yeah, well, here's what you should do with your diet. Here's what you should do, with a stretching or mobility routine. And here's some stuff that you could work on while you're at practice. Things to think about while you're doing different things. And you always had that, and that it showed. It definitely showed, right? Like you made faster and bigger progress than a lot of kids, right? And it's for that reason. Like, and it's that, like I was saying earlier, and I try and teach athletes the difference in when to turn it off, when to turn it on. You know what I mean? And you had that ability to, okay, no more fucking around. Time to disconnect from Brandon and Jake for a minute. And I'm going to go into my 5 reps of squats, and I'm going to focus, right? You had that focus, right? And a lot of guys don't, right? It's even with the small things, like you had that focus. You would sit down and do some skull crushers. You would focus, I'm just using like small, lifts or whatever. But a lot of guys don't. That's the time where it's like, and they're digging around and they're making jokes and, whatever. So that's, looking at that as a coach, that's why you saw such success with it.
Right. Yeah. And I also think it's cool because it was like, I'm living proof that if you put in the work, you can achieve these goals. I was not a gifted athlete by any means. I was athletic, but I wasn't dropped off by a stork, like I wasn't created in a lab. Right. I had to work to get to the level that I got to. And I'm living proof that if you do put in the work, you can get there. For sure. That's a big thing that I want to get across to like younger athletes. It's like my sister's going through it right now. She's a varsity basketball player at Granada. And I'm like, yo, if you want to play in college, like you have to do X, Y, and Z. Like I'm living proof of it. Right. Unfortunately, we're not 6'6", 200 pound, not for her, but for me, 6'6", 260. Right. Like,
no, when you first started training, like you're size wise, I mean, how tall are you?
I'm like 6'3", 6'4".
Right. And you were about 6'2", I think, when you first started coming to the gym. So you had a decent height and frame to you, but it's not like you walked in and you were stacked and jacked at 230. No, I think you walked in the gym and I don't know if you were 200 pounds yet. No. I want to say you're 190 something, right?
Just right around 200, yeah.
Right. So if I'm a college coach and I'm looking for you went and played tight end, transitioned into some offensive line, bounced back and forth at Texas State, but if I'm looking for a kid to bring in to play college football, I'm going to go, hey, he's kind of small. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of size to put on if he wants to play.
I got that at Laney going through recruiting there when I was in junior college. Yeah. I was too small for some schools, which, Yeah. Yeah, and that's like I said, man, I know it was a long road, right? Because when you were playing, okay, so let's take Nick's transformation, 190 something to when you graduated high school. I was 235 my freshman year of Laney. 235.
Right. So we dropped about
the most in shape that I was.
Right, and we dropped that was probably 40 pounds. Probably put about 40 pounds on you in 2 years, right? And part of that is puberty, right? And hormones, and you're just fucking eating and growing. That's just your body, right? And a lot of it has to do with the work that you're putting in too. And then from there, I know you left there, you went to Texas State, and they're like, guess what? You're an offensive lineman now. Yeah, got 1 year at tight end, and then was going in to be, the number 1, number 2 guy my senior year, and we had a coaching change, and you know how that goes, especially when you're on scholarship. They're going to move you around. They're going to make people quit, and that's exactly what they did. They came in and they cleaned house. They put us through a 3-week cleanse, they called it.
where we weren't even allowed to use the facilities for the first 3 weeks they were there. We weren't allowed to wear Texas State apparel for the first 3. We had to earn all of it.
Right.
And so we had more than 40. We had like 40. I want to say the exact number was like 46 people quit.
Wow.
Like it was an insane amount of people.
Wow.
So we went going into fall camp with 5 offensive linemen. So they're like, here's a couple D linemen. We're going to pull you. You have a wide frame. You got good feet. So, and that was a whole nother ordeal because.
Well, and then you went from, okay, so you played your freshman year or junior year, right? Your first year at Texas State. You finished, you were sitting probably around 250 somewhere?
240s, I would say, yeah.
Okay, and then they said, time to gain weight. You're going to play offensive line. And this was in a matter of months.
This is before fall camp started. So
right.
About summertime. And they were like, yo, you got to gain some serious weight.
Right.
Because I even knew it. I'm like, I see some of these guys. I've already had to block some of these guys that are, 300 pounds.
Right.
And if I'm going to be like in the trenches, truly in the trenches, not ever like split out on some little DB or anything, like I'm going to have to put on some weight to help me out.
And so what was the heaviest that they got you up to?
They got me up to just under, I was about 274.
So,
yeah, so
25, 30 pounds in a matter of like 2 months.
Yeah. Oh no, I was in, this is super unhealthy, but I had to make weight twice a week. And I would throw up twice a week off of trying to make weight because it was hard.
Right.
And I was eating everything and anything. And if I needed that extra pound, you would see me chugging a gallon of water before I stepped on that scale.
Right.
And if I didn't try to sneak some weights in my pockets,
hell yeah.
got caught one time, they made me weigh in compression shorts every time after that. So,
oh, shit.
I was trying everything. Because if we didn't make weight, we had to be at the weight room the next morning at like 4:30 in the morning, and we had to clean every single weight that was in there. Take it out of the weight room, clean it, bring it all back in, and you're like,
fuck that.
No.
Yeah, fuck
and
that.
then have to work out an hour later.
Right. Man, all right, so that's Nick's weight progression through high school and college. Circle back around here too, like, when you were training as a younger man, and you had brought something up. You're talking about like the kids, right? You came in and watched the 9 to 12-year-old group. I think you've seen them 2 or 3 times now.
Yep.
And you start to see the things that I do, like when I'm coaching those kids, and it's not super complex, right? But you look at everything that they do and how it translates to what they're going to be doing as they get older, right? And you said something about those kids developing that now, right? And then when it will pay off, is like as they get into high school. And it's exactly right? Like you give kids like that a base now. And this is the talk. I had this talk with Dalton the other day, because Dalton, he comes in and he works out with the younger group. Before baseball season started, he was working out with the older group too. With the older group when he'd come in, and I'd say, you're going to do exactly what the older group does too. You're going to lift, you're going to go through all the movements, but it's just going to be light. I don't want don't want it to be heavy. Just go through this stuff and whatever. It's just training the movement patterns with him, and I told him, I said, look, you may not see this right now. Like this, you may not see it on the field. You may not realize it like when you're playing a sport, but in a couple years, and I said, probably but like right around the time you get into high school, you're going to have been doing this stuff for 4 or 5 years. And these other guys, it's going to be brand new too. And you're going to have this little bit of a base of strength and speed. And that's where it's going to show. Because right now, all these kids are growing at different times. And, you got some kids that are just gargantuan kids at 10 years old.
Right, exactly.
They're just hitting growth spurts and whatever. And that's when you're going to see it pay off. I was telling him, I said, you're going to see little glimpses of it here and there. And he had one. It was cool because he had one in both sports last weekend, because he's doing flag football again right now, and he's doing baseball right now. So in baseball, he had, a hit the other day. Well, at first he was hitting in the cage, and one of our other coaches is like, what the fuck is he doing to have that kind of speed in his hips? I said, Well, it's just all the stuff he does at the gym, especially with the younger kids. We do a ton of jumps.
Yeah.
So it's all hip explosion, right? It's all, hip extension, right? And so it's just teach them how to be explosive box jumps and broad jumps and tuck jump, going through all this stuff. So that was really cool. And then in that practice game we had Saturday, had a ball that he hit off the bat, and I thought it was going to put a hole in the shortstop, just in the kid's chest. So cool. Ball's jumping off the bat a little. He's doing that. And then Sunday, he's playing quarterback in our flag football game and, play a 40-yard field. So he's at the 40. He's playing quarterback. If somebody rushes you, you can run. Well, sure enough, they try and rush, and he just 40 yards gone. And he's just dipping.
You were telling me about this.
Just dipping in and out of kids and just, like, outrunning kids. I'm like, a year ago, that wasn't him. Like, he's always been athletic, for sure, but he was never that kid to this. So it's cool because then I can go home and say, hey, man, you think those box jumps are working? You think the stuff that we're doing to fix, or to help your sprinting and running faster is helping. And to see a kid at that age make the connection is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
I think especially, I don't think the younger kids realize it as much. It kind of, it indirectly makes them like more confident when they know how to.
For sure.
When they're using their body properly, they don't really realize it, but they're like more confident with how they're moving and,
For sure. I mean, it's, a good example too is like, okay, you were in here when the young ones, teaching the young kids how to deadlift the other day.
Yeah.
Right. And they're deadlifting, right? And Dalton sets up and he's been doing it for a while. Sets up.
His deadlift form is crazy good, actually.
Yeah. It sets up and it's, he's dialed in, right? It's perfect. 85 pounds for 5 reps. Right. And I'm like, was it hard? He's like, no.
Yeah.
And I said, nothing was hard. He goes, no, I mean, my hands, he goes, but that's a kid holding a barbell,
Yeah, for sure.
But stuff like that too, like he, like later I'll get home at night, after training the adults and stuff, I come home and he's like, is that good to do 85? And I said, that's great, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't realize it. And then like he starts to put it together. And for my kid, he's been on the podcast before and you guys know him. Like he's a pretty shy, mellow kid, right? Not shy, but just he's not super outspoken, whatever. But it is, I've seen just through the training, giving him that little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Right. And a little bit of swag.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean, I was very, very similar growing up as a small child. And I feel like once I got to high school, even my freshman year, I didn't have a big group of friends. I wasn't very confident in myself, wasn't very outgoing. And once I started kind of playing football and working out and just kind of being a part of that, I feel like I gained a lot of confidence. And then even after my sophomore year, especially when I started going to U, it was like tenfold.
Right.
And then I'm freaking walking in the mirror with my shirt off every day. And, no. But yeah,
shut up, bitch. You were.
Yeah.
So yeah, talking about gaining some confidence, building confidence, and that's it's one of those things. Definitely with the older group, you see it because they've hit puberty, they've got the hormones going, so they're gonna gain weight faster. They're gonna put more weight on the bar faster, right? And they realize it. They see that way. With the younger kids, you see it in different ways too, right? Like I said, with Dalton, I definitely see it with Dalton, just the way he carries himself, for sure, and I see it, like I've seen it with baseball this year. So, he's playing baseball. Last year was the year he got moved up to AAA. He was one of the youngest kids in AAA. And, struggling a bit and just being a young kid and whatever. And went into that super shy mode. And this year, being bigger, faster, stronger, being a year older, but like he's got a confidence now. So like he's on the field and he's doing a great job. And this is what I'm most proud of him for, is he's out there and he's showing that confidence. He's calling out, hey, 1 out, runner on first, plays at first or second, outfield cut 3. He's talking to kids. He's letting other kids know, hey, remember, you got to back up the throw to the pitcher. Like, I mean, it's little things like that, giving the kids confidence to be confident in themselves, their abilities, and it's pretty cool, man.
And helping find your voice, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But the stuff that we're doing with the young kids, like I said, it's not complex. It's really not. Like you've like I said, you've been in here a few days now. It's teaching them teaching them how to move, teach them how to be, explosive, how to, move their bodies, be aware of their bodies in relation to objects, kinesthetic awareness of things, and have fun, right? And definitely have fun with what they're doing, and let them know that like they're learning that same thing of like when to train, when to have fun, right? When to turn it off, when to turn it on. And you notice like you've been in here on days where the kids are doing footwork and box work, and as opposed to days where the barbells are out, the training bars, the light ones that the kids are using, and they're starting to get it, right? Because that day we were deadlifting, a little bit different, like as far as how they're treating that day as opposed to when we're jumping on boxes and doing stuff. So, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like for you personally, you look at being on the other side of it and training athletes. Is there one that you go, man, that'd be really cool to train those? Or now that you've kind of seen a bunch of age groups, you go, fuck, I want to train all of them,
Yeah. I mean, I think all of them in general. If I had to choose, I would definitely say like a high school level, middle school to high school level. I think, I just think it's really important at that time to really learn, like we've been talking about, learn proper mechanics and just learn how to move your body. And if you can instill that at a younger age, you're only going to set these athletes up for more success in the future or earlier on in their athletic career.
For sure. And that is where you're going to make the biggest impact. I believe that, right? Like that, especially that group, that age of the fucked up age of like 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where kids are going through so much, right? You're going, that's when they're going to see the biggest changes in their body hormonally. Like that's when like a kid will go, say they're in junior high school and they haven't hit puberty yet and they're 4'10", and then there's a kid that's got a mustache like Nick sitting next to him in class, and they're like, what the fuck is happening right now? You know what I mean? And it's such a big change. There's so much going on there. Being somebody that can help a kid through a time like that, in different ways. You're helping the kid in the weight room, helping them build the confidence. You're doing all this stuff, I think is huge. I think is absolutely huge, right? And I think that's where you're going to make a humongous impact. The high school kids, and it's always, the high school kids are always easier to coach and train just because they're starting to understand adult things a little bit. Right. Yeah. A little bit. Not completely. I mean, as I think about you morons. Oh God. And but they're starting to understand things, and they're starting to become adults, young adults, and you're starting to really help form their personalities and stuff. And it's a fun age for sure. It's a fun age for sure to deal with, and then once those athletes get a little bit older, it's the older they get, the harder they are to coach, and I mean that by if you get them at older age. If I start training you when you're young, hopefully I've set you up for success. When you get kids as they get a little bit older, it's like you're trying to break a bunch of bad habits, and you're trying to, rework the way they think and their mind, and, the way they approach training, and, their mindset, and that's tough.
Absolutely.
That's tough. That's something too, like as a coach, I look back and I think about, and I wish I would have dedicated more of my time to when I was a younger coach. By the time I got my hands on you guys, I was already kind of starting to evolve that way of trying to instill, more of a, I guess, a growth mindset, right? Like within athletes. When I was a young trainer, a real young trainer, it was just like, I was going to put you through a squat workout. I'm not thinking about the athlete's mind and how that works and how it, relates to what you're doing, So on a side note, if there's anything that I can tell you, like, think of the big picture, like when you are training athletes, right? Is like, think about that stuff, right? Like, it's as an athlete, you think about how much your coaches influenced you in that way. to set up that type of mindset. Like, that's big, dude.
Definitely.
That's super big, and I don't know how much, your high school coaches or your college coaches at Laney or Texas State did that. I mean, how much was that talked about?
I think out of all of the coaches that I've had over all of my sport playing days, I think I've had two that have that I could proudly say that I had full trust. I knew they had my best interest, and they genuinely wanted to see me succeed and wanted the best for me. And that was you and Coach Beam at Laney.
Beam, yeah. For sure.
And it was, if you buy into me I'll buy into you. That's it.
Right.
And you guys both have a very good way of speaking to your athletes and being straight with them. Like you've been saying, knowing when to joke around, knowing when to be serious, and not sugarcoating, no BS. There's literally zero with you guys. You're straight shooters. And I think a lot of people really appreciate that. Some obviously can't handle that. They need the sugar cookie. But
for sure. Oh, for sure. A lot of guys don't want to accept reality, right? And you see that, and that's where I know Coach Beam, I think he is a super underrated coach. I really do. I mean, he's phenomenal, right? And all the success that he has had, I think he deserves twice that for what he has done and gone through with athletes. And I know he's got, a tough job with what he does, and the type of athletes that he gets, because he's getting, a lot of the kids that he gets are inner city kids, right? Who've had a rough go before they get to him, right? It's been a tough road before they get to him. For a kid like you showing up at Laney, who comes from a home where you don't have to worry about going home and having a place to sleep or having food on the table or whatever it is, right? And for him, he to be able to communicate with kids that are going through the struggle and having that is tough, right?
Sure, yeah.
It is so tough, right? For him to be in that position and deliver that message of, like you said, shooting a kid straight, right? Not bullshitting a kid. And I don't know, man. I like I said, I can't give that dude enough props for what he does. He's awesome. Yeah. He's awesome.
He's acting a little movie star-ish now since Last Chance U, but
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. Didn't he start a clothing line?
Started a clothing line. He does cameos now. Yeah.
Cameos?
Oh, yeah. You can get a Coach Beam cameo.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm about to buy one.
Hold on. How much?
I don't know.
72 cents.
I don't know. I was thinking about calling him and asking him not that long ago.
We'll get him in here.
But
that's fucking fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. You get a Coach Beam cameo. No way. That is fantastic. Oh, good for him, man. Like I said, a dude like that, I look at the amount of time and effort and just what he's done, for
the city of Oakland.
Yeah, not just for that football program or for himself. Yeah, but just the community. It's like, fuck, that guy deserves twice as much or 5 times as much as what he gets. You know what I mean? That guy, he's a great person, a great human being, just overall. You know what I mean? And absolutely. I don't think I've ever had a guy who has either played for me or trained with me that I've sent up there who he hasn't tried to set up for success. Now, has every guy been successful? No, but he is giving them every opportunity
100%.
To be successful. 100%. Cool. I don't know how we got on the Coach Beam thing, but he's a great dude, and I love him.
Talking about just coaches that.
You're talking about mindset and stuff like that, and so what else, man? What else can you tell me about, wanting to train and getting into that side of things, and
Yeah, I think it's just where my passion lies. This is where I'm the happiest, is being in a gym setting and being around athletes and around sports. That's been my life. And since graduating college and kind of stepping away from the sports world and only watching it on TV per se, that's been super tough and very hard to handle. And yeah, so I think just kind of getting back into it, like working out by myself in my garage or here, it's like, obviously here you have you have a community of people, which I think is one of the best in this area. And like for me, most of the time I'm working out in my garage.
Right.
So it's like, I'm like staring in the mirror, like, you're going to lift this weight. You're gonna lift it right now. You know, it's
doing the mind fuck game. Yeah.
And it's like being a part of team sports your whole life. You're so used to working out and like training with people and being around people. And then that's just taken away. It's just gone. It's done.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of figure out how to do it on your own per se, you know? And so that's been the biggest challenge for me. But I think just being in a gym environment and being around athletes and being around people that are just trying to better themselves.
Yeah.
I think this is like the number one thing. It was very frustrating, not to get on the COVID topic, but it was very frustrating when everybody was getting shut down and they were really hard on gyms, obviously.
Yeah.
You guys had a hard go at it. And it, like, just to think about the bigger picture, like, this is what's going to help you in the long run, not only physically, but mentally.
Yeah.
There's so many people that started suffering from severe mental illness because of it. And this is the number one place that you can help yourself in that category. And that's another reason why I love this place, is because I've dealt with mental issues. I've had depression. I've had severe anxiety. And this is like, you can go to the gym and you could just, nothing else matters. And you can just focus on you and getting better, and you can kind of get lost in it, you know?
Yeah, for sure, dude. And that's, I preach that all the time. For somebody, like for myself, I've had attention issues over the years, and I've had all these different things. And when I feel my best, right, and I've said this before, and I don't ever go 3 days without working out, but I said, if you wanted to make me go crazy,
yeah, don't
let me work out or move my body for 3 days, right? Like that would, you would break me mentally.
Yeah.
You would absolutely break me mentally. It's where I can focus with attention issues and stuff like that is when I work the hardest. It's when I work the hardest. It's when it's where I find out the most about myself, right? Like,
yeah,
it was like that, I was talking to you about the AMRAP sets of deadlifts, right? Like, I as much as I absolutely hated doing a set of 18 fucking deadlifts the other day, I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it, because it's putting yourself through that struggle, but knowing it's for the betterment of yourself. It's you're testing yourself. You're seeing where you're at. You're seeing what you're made of. You know what I mean? And it's fucking phenomenal. And I get that in different ways. Like, I've done it through endurance. Like where pushing long runs of 10 plus miles, or like the longer runs of 30 miles. Right? Like, that's where like turning off the headphones and just running in silence during that time, and just letting the mental battle and struggle begin and happen, and being able to work that shit out in your head. And like, one of the best feelings I've ever had, and this is going to sound fucked up, is after my first 6-hour race. I had to have Tara drive home because I was so fucked up, like physically and mentally. I just couldn't, there's no way I could focus on the road and whatever, but it was just like that, like, exhausted feeling of like, it's like almost exercising the demons, right? Like, I'm done. Like, I've worked all the shit out in my head, and I'm like, this is the best feeling ever.
Yeah. It's a form of meditation in its own weird way.
Yeah.
It's
incredible. And I, like I said, I've got that through endurance stuff. I've got it through the barbell before.
Right. That's the best part of it. There's so many different ways that you can go about it.
It's fantastic, man. And that's cool, man. It makes me happy to hear you say that this is the place that comforts you that way, right? And that, like, you get that need met of like where you feel your best and where you feel most at home. I know for me, like, when I first started training people, that's what it was. It was like, I thought I wanted to be a cop when I was younger, and then it was like, well, I coach football, maybe I should be a teacher, and I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah,
that's not me, right? Now I had people trying to push me those directions, and I was listening to them because They told me it was the right thing to do. And I had to do that same thing of like, all right, man, like, what do I love? What do I really enjoy? Fuck, I love working out. I do love helping people. Right. And how do I combine them? Well, fucking be a fucking trainer, stupid. Right. Yeah. And like, so what do you do? And like, I had to, and I was saying this to you the other day of like, all right, well, how did I make it a career? Well, I had to look at it as like, I had to do the disconnect of money, right? And that's really fucking hard. It's really fucking hard of like, all right, if I want to make this work, yes, I have to make money with it, but money can't be the end all be all to start, right? I can't go, all right, I'm going to start being a fucking trainer and I got to make $100,000 this year. Right. Like, well, it's not going to work that way. Like, you're not that dude. You don't have that kind of fucking expertise and, you know, time under tension as a coach or a trainer to where people are going to fucking pay you that kind of money. Yeah. So it was, all right, well, I got to fucking hustle then. All right. So I'm going to train people 7 days a week. My first appointment's going to be at, 5:30 in the morning. My last appointment's at 9 o'clock at night. I'm going to fill in the gaps in between. I'm going to start training athletes because I really like training athletes, but I need to group them together. So I'm actually making money off of it. Okay, cool. Well, I'm still going to fucking bartend at night too because I got to fucking pay my rent, Right. And then I'm going to do side jobs for the real estate agents that I know and tear out carpet and do that. But it was, okay, at that same time, I'm building the business, just kind of building who I am as that coach and trainer and where I want to be and where I want to go, right? And it's, if you want to do it, it's about the hustle of it. And if that's where you want to be, like, fucking hustle, right? Fucking hustle and do it. And that's it's I don't know, man. I think too many people look at, like this business as a whole, and I know you're kind of, you have a full-time job, right? And that's where you're working, whatever. But I'm just talking to and about the people that want to do that do this as a full-time gig, is they do it for a short period of time and they go, well, I'm not making a lot of money. It's kind of hard, to get clients, and they fucking bounce out. It's like, no shit. Like anything you're going to do, even if you work for 24 Hour Fitness or one of the big box gyms, if you're working there, you have people all around you that you can fucking train, whatever. Like, go fucking get them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be easy, right? It's definitely not easy getting people in the fucking door, right?
For sure. And I think clients, I think, can sense or feel when you have one foot in, one foot out.
Oh, fuck yeah. Sure. Fuck yeah.
And I just know that from like my being a part, like having you as a coach and having other people, like experiencing other coaching styles. You could tell the people that care and that truly want, like we've been talking about, to see you succeed. And then the ones that got one foot out.
Yeah. And that's, that was a conversation you and I had the other day. It's give a fuck, right? Yeah. It's give a fuck. And that's as much as, you've been in my gym for a long time. Mikey, you've been a member at the gym for a long time. I bust balls. That's what I do, right? But you guys all understand, every fucking person who walks in here understands, like, if I give you shit, it's because I want to see you get better. It's because I like you and I want to see you get better. And there's not a person that comes in here that I don't like. Yeah. You know what I mean? I truly want to see people get better. If you're not here for a couple of days, you're going to hear from me. You're getting a fucking text message. Hey, dickhead, where you been? Get out of the fucking drive-thru, Mikey. Come to the gym, right? Like, or my famous one, I do this all the time, is I just send the gym address to people. I'll text people. Really? Oh, yeah. I'll text people the gym address, and they're like, what's this? I'm like, the address to the gym, you fucking dick. Show up. Like, or, like, that's a famous one, right? It's like, if you get the gym address texted to you, you better get your ass here, right?
Missing too many days.
Yeah, but it's the give a fuck, right? Give a fuck. Like, I know about every single one of our members, right? And that's something like most gyms don't do that, right? No. Like, and I realize that, I realize that, and I think you have to care. Yeah. Like, as a coach, as a trainer, you have to care about your people, not just whether or not Mike's got a stronger back squat today as opposed to a couple months ago. I got to care about Mike and what he's doing to open that new restaurant he's working at, and every other thing that he has going on in his life, because that's going to relate to what he's doing in the gym and how he's performing and what's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you don't get that a lot.
No. Yeah, you get, let me come in and collect the check.
Yeah, that gets washed out. It's short term.
Yeah.
If the passion's not there and the care. I mean, I can relate to that in a lot of things that I've experienced.
Well,
Seeing that in people.
And it's I listen to a bunch of people who I say are smarter than me, people that just have been in the industry longer, right? And people who have expertise in like one certain area of fitness and health and strength and whatever. And I'm listening to one of these guys, kind of talk the other day, and he was kind of saying the same thing. It was like, kind of in a way of seeing success, right? And seeing success like with people losing weight is, I think, what he was talking about. He said, who has the most impact on somebody losing weight? And, he's talking to somebody else, and he said, it's not a doctor. It's not a dietitian. It's the personal trainers. It's the coaches. And he said, because they're dealing with people more often than they have a relationship with them.
Right.
Right? If you just see a dietitian and they're like, follow this diet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work as well. Like, you got to know people and have that connection with people, and get people to trust you and buy into what you're doing, right? If they don't, it ain't gonna fucking work,
right?
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Sometimes they just need a vent too. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's been countless times where someone just had to give you a little 10-minute vent sesh, and then they come in and they kill their workout.
For sure.
But if they don't feel comfortable with you to do that, they're going to come in and have a shitty workout and then leave in the same state of mind that they came in with, maybe feeling a little bit better, but I think that's a big part of it too, having that, like, feeling comfortable with that person.
For sure. And that's, it happens a lot, right? And it happens either in the gym or through text or, a phone call or whatever that I get from people all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Right?
Leaders are listeners. They absorb a lot, everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, yeah, for sure. And it was, you and I talking about that the other day, like your coaches that you've had over the years, and me thinking back about coaches that I had and this and that, and like who got the most out of you type of thing, and and it's the ones that know how to talk to you, know how to bring it out in you. And the ones who listen to you, right? To what the questions, I guess, that you're asking, right? Because that's a big thing. Like, if Mike's asking me a question about his squat and I'm giving him some fucking bullshit, textbook answer that has nothing in relation to him, like, does it fucking matter? You know what I mean?
Go lower. Go lower.
No, just squat deeper. So anyways, man, that's a big point, right? Like, you've got to listen. You've got to be able to listen and hear, and man. Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it, life's fucking hard. No matter what age you are, life is hard. Life's a bitch. Yeah. And if you don't have people to lean on and you don't have an outlet, you're going to just keep digging your hole deeper and deeper. And I think finding a community like what you've built, I think, is absolutely amazing. And I'm not just over here hyping you up, but I am, because I've been here and I've experienced it firsthand. And the community that you've grew here is absolutely amazing. And I feel like you have a home away from home. And right. I mean, obviously you do, you're here every single day, but like as the family feeling is what I'm saying, like with the people that are here. I feel like you truly get that.
Yeah, and it's sure. Like I said, man, it what's cool is, everybody, as much as people are here to do their thing, right, and everybody's working out and they've all got their own shit, is like, people see that, like that I know about each person who comes in, and they kind of have that with each other too, right? Mm-hmm. Is you get to know personalities and, all right, why is Nick here? Okay, he's an athlete, he's training for this and whatever. Like, you start to know a lot about people, and you start to care about everybody, right? And that's the cool part about the community, is everybody wants to see everybody else get better, mm-hmm. right? They do, they truly do, and it's like, it's a funny thing, we do a lot of strength work here, right? And we use a barbell a lot, and Cool thing. We got our leaderboard up now, and, all of our top lifts and runs and different workouts that test endurance, strength, stamina, all these different things, right? And what's cool is, like, say Nick benched 400 pounds and say I hit 395. Well, I know that, I want to beat Nick on the next one, but I also want him to keep getting stronger because that's going to push me more, right? And you have that with each other where you can kind of poke at each other in a fun way, but it's that drive to kind of push each other, kind of like,
And that's that's a testament to the community that you've built here. Because I think a lot of other places, it's very intimidating for people. I know from my parents, their experiences going to different CrossFit gyms or whatever it may be, it is very intimidating because it's not like that. You don't get that family feeling. You don't get that, like, I can poke fun at you and, like, we're going to get each other better type of thing. It's like more cutthroat type of deal.
Right. And it's there you see the clicks more, right?
Absolutely,
where it's like
it's harder to get in on whatever's already established.
Yeah. And it's that's exactly it. You see the cliques of people. You don't have the gel of all different types, right? Like, that's a cool thing about our gym, right? Is, like, even when you were a younger athlete, let's say, you would come in here and you guys are doing, a fucking gnarly leg day, let's say, right? And I'm pushing you guys through squats and some barbell lunges and whatever. And you guys are working out and you're pushing hard. And then I've got a fucking mom with 3 kids next to you, but there's still that, like, talking to each other. There's still the communication between the two, like, and having that, like, oh, okay, you're here to get in shape and, lose weight and whatever and keep up with the kids. You're here, you're trying to play fucking college football, and you're rooting for her just as hard as she's rooting for you. And it's just that cool. I don't know, man.
It's so unique. It really is.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's fun. It's definitely fun. And, as much as, like, I bust balls with people, give people a bad time, like, we really do have a good community of people here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, for you as, a dude looking to start training and coaching and, getting into that side of things, whether it be as as an outlet for a secondary career, like as fun or whatever, man, like, I guess the best advice I can give you is just keep that same personality that you have of giving a fuck. You know what I mean? And you've got that for sure of like just caring about people, which is good, which is definitely good. Mikey, we haven't been hearing from you much this episode, dude. So if you guys didn't know, Mikey finally opened that fucking restaurant that's been in the works for 9
in 3 months.
So anyways, I'm looking at my watch. It's been 9 years since they started trying to open this restaurant.
In 3 months, grand opening.
Originally the open date was like October, right?
September.
It
was September.
Then it was pushed back. Yeah. When did you guys finally have the
January, like 19th was the beginning of soft opening. So we did a week of that, and then we were open to the public a week after. So we're in week 5 right now.
Yeah, and you guys are cranking, plugging along pretty cool from what I hear.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
It's I'm happy with the direction of everything, and just trying to, I don't know, I'm just competitive with myself. So I look at it, I feel it like it's a game. And I just try to keep on going and be aggressive. It's funny. I can say that to you guys, but I'm not out there at the restaurant like serve that table.
No, man.
But there's like a certain, and if anybody goes to visit, you'll hopefully that'll make sense and put it in context. We are really trying to do something a little different, a little more upscale, but we're trying to back everything up with the quality of everything that we're delivering. So
yeah,
it's been fun. I finally had 2 days off for the first time in months this past Monday and Tuesday.
Nice.
And things are relatively settling down in terms of my schedule and consistency with time. So I'm able to be here today. Hopefully I'll be back in the gym. Hopefully we'll do this a lot more often.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I just want to keep going.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Where's it at again?
It's in Alameda.
Alameda.
Yeah. Sarong Kitchen.
Are you the bridge side or the tunnel side?
Right outside of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah, tunnel side. So just keep going straight. It's on Webster. It used to be called Lutz, but the family they had 2 restaurants. They just wanted to really do one. So they still have their flagship in Oakland. But yeah, we walked in August 1st and remodeled everything completely.
What has been the most popular dish on the menu?
Flat iron steak.
Now we're talking. How big? How much? How like? What's this thing weigh?
It's an 8-ounce cut.
Relax.
It's on the lighter side.
So if I came in and I said, "Can I get 32 ounces?"
Yeah, we could do that. We
Okay.
get you 4 flat irons.
Yeah.
Good.
Just put them on top of each other.
I just want bottle service.
We have some nice bottles. We have some really good wine. We have your tequila. We have your cognacs. What are you looking for? No. You got yourself into this.
Some Cisco,
Like
Mad Dog.
What does
yeah.
Puff Daddy drink?
Do you guys serve 40 ounces or no?
I'll take a sidewalk slammer.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Well, good man.
Some cool
Good.
stuff going on over there.
I know Vicky was telling me you guys are moving. You guys are doing all right.
Yeah, we had a really good night last night.
Good.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to make my bosses some money, and mine will come later.
Cool.
You know, and
Yeah.
and that just goes back to what you guys were saying. If you do it for the money, it's not going to work. So if in my head I'm doing this just for money, it's I'm going to fail. So
Right.
with me, I'm just like, let me do that for them. Everything will work itself out. If I do this job right, I'm going to be in a good position for myself.
Well, it's,
Just in general,
you know, like
you know.
for you, you look at it. You guys know who Zig Ziglar is? Old.
Sounds familiar, but no.
Motivational speaker,
Okay.
right? And had a lot of books, a lot of famous quotes you'll see from Zig Ziglar. And one of his famous quotes was, "If you help others get what you want, that will," how does he put it? If you help others get what you want, that will in turn help you get what you want, right? Something along those lines. And it's true, right? Like if you are helping others, right, to get to where they need to go, it's going to circle back, right? It's going to circle back. It will. So keep doing you.
You know, or it won't, and I'll just be tired.
Well, hey, look,
Come in here and he'll be sleeping in your office.
it's all right, man. Look, we'll build you a little loft up there above the office. You and Chet can share it.
Oh yeah, wouldn't
You'll be fine.
have it any other way.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be
Mhm.
fine. Well, good, man. How's the wife?
She's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been tough not seeing each other too much. You know,
Yeah.
she's up early to go to work. I'm home late, which was I mean, it's not new for us, but it's new because of say the pandemic.
Right, because you guys were spending more
we
time
were spending
together.
it like 24/7, which was a little too much, I think, for both of us. You know,
You need
So-
to back up and find your own damn space, lady.
So she was working from home. I was doing stuff from home. Yeah. So now it's like back to that. But I was DJing and still working at the restaurant, you know, back before the
Right.
pandemic. So
Speaking
it's
of
just-
DJing, yeah.
no,
Hey.
what's up?
Speaking of DJing, I saw Mikey DJ
Oh
at
yeah,
Alicia's wedding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was fun. I had a lot of fun because I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that again. So I just went. I was like, I'm just going to go
Oh,
in.
hey, speaking of, I got something to tell you. So,
Okay.
off
Off air.
Yeah, off air.
But yeah, my mentality going in, one, I wanted to just rock it for Alicia and Leo because they're amazing, and congratulations to them, and thank you for letting me be a part of that to them.
What a cool venue, huh?
I really liked it. It had all those different spaces all around. People could be real comfortable going wherever they needed to.
Well, the wedding site itself too,
Oh, yeah.
right? Holy
Where's
shit!
That view.
What's the name of the
Forest
Hill?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So it's like up past Auburn,
Okay.
but it's like out in the cuts, like 30 minutes out in the cuts, out past Auburn. You know, Rachel got married at the exact same spot,
Oh, okay.
but the venue itself, like, it was like all out amongst all the fucking trees, and you look out and you see the snow-capped peaks
Oh,
of
that's
mountains
Yeah.
behind. It was fucking beautiful.
So there was like
Absolutely beautiful.
a nice valley before the mountains came up again, and then you just got to see all that. And then the trees were on the side. They cleared out just enough to put where the ceremony
awesome,
happens.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Cool.
Super cool. Alicia looked absolutely amazing, right? Absolutely amazing.
Lucky was there too.
Yeah.
Famous dog.
The famous Lucky who's got like 15,000 Instagram followers. Alicia's dog. Yeah. Alicia's dog. Crazy. Yeah, so Mikey DJ'd that, and they had the Mexican side. Of like the Spanish speaking, like in the snake dance thing, like tequila shots being poured in people's mouth, like it was some shit. I'm like, as a younger man, I would have gotten after it right now. Like these would have been my homies. Yeah. But these fools were partying. They were having a good time, dude. Like everybody was having fun, man. It was cool. It was super cool.
I had a blast, and again, I just tried to go in as hard as I could on that set, just because that's my last one for a while.
Yeah.
That was my last booked event. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that again. I miss it, man. Like, I love that. That's a whole nother world and energy and release. You know how you guys talk about being in the gym.
Yeah.
I space out in the right way when I DJ.
Yeah. It allows you to get in that other part of your brain and be creative and, yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, cool, man. I think we're going to shut it down there for the day.
I got 2 questions for Nick.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
I love it.
Where's your weight right now?
I'm sitting around 240.
Okay. Just wondering, in terms of that, because we've talked about it with Reese, right? The post-athlete and just where that balance is out.
Speaking of, Reese is down in the 220s again.
Yeah, you need to stop doing drugs.
Well. What's that, meth? That's meth.
Which gets me to my second question. No, the other thing I was just going to ask is, all right, so you're getting into training, but do you have any specific personal objectives with where your personal training is for yourself, and or are you just trying to like kind of work out 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
No, I would definitely like to up that. I think I definitely want to get off working nights. I think my lifestyle isn't the healthiest right now. It's very hard. It is a grind to get in 4 days a week in the gym. I'm just not sleeping a lot. But as personal goals, last year I got down to just under 230, and then I kind of put it back on. But I think that's a really good weight for me, is around there, 230, 225. I feel really good at that weight. So I'd say that's probably my only goal. But at the end of the day, I use this as a big mental outlet for myself.
Okay.
And yeah, I love it. So as long as I'm consistently doing it, I'm good.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Party.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Party.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, no, it's cool, Nick. We'll have to have Nick on again, and kind of make this a little regular thing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is really cool what you're doing here, and it's given. I'll say this real quick before we go. I think this is very, very cool for you to start, because like what I was saying earlier with like kind of being intimidated with people going into gyms and having maybe a bad experience and not knowing you directly, just hearing about you from word of mouth. I think this is a really cool outlet for them to really get to know you and really get to know what the gym's about and see firsthand experiences from other people that you bring on. And I mean, you've had episodes where you've showed yourself outside of the gym, like cooking and, and stuff that's happened in your personal life. So I think it's absolutely really cool and amazing that you're able to do this and keep it going.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. No, dude, I enjoy it. I do. It's fun, man. It's fun, number one, to have somebody on like you who, just shoot the shit with a little bit, and, always like with Mikey, because we always, have our banter back and forth and have fun, and, all out of love and, whatever. And it's cool, dude. It's cool to be able to talk about different things. And even when we don't have guests on, right? Like, it's cool having guests on, but it's cool just to be able to shoot the shit about, number one, life and what's going on in life. But number two, like, just what's on my mind, like from a health and fitness standpoint, like, from mindset to, a fucking squat, to how to eat right or whatever. Like, it's cool, man. And, the part that I just wish I could figure out a way to fast forward this information to people quicker, right? Not that I think I'm the smartest guy in the world or whatever, but just so people kind of hear little bits of things that may help them, right? And just touch on little things that may help somebody, give them hope in the situation that they're in, or whatever. Just try and pass along some good information. So cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Mikey, as always, good to see you, buddy.
All right.
Good to see you.
Yep.
Guys, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
I need to get a heater.
Cold